pineapple rhubarb pie, a wonderful combination.
Let's see what's cooking, let's get the facts. Let's see what's cooking, it's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Hello everyone. First thing you're going to need, of course, is some pastry for your pie. I'm using a lard-based pastry. I find it is the best tasting, the flakiest, and the easiest to make of all the different kinds of pastry out there. The recipe I've been using forever as just the same one as my mom used, and it's actually the one that's on the back of the Tender Flake lard box. Not a secret. I did a video on this about 10 years ago, and there'll be a link in the description box to the video if you want to check it out, and in the description box. Now, if you'll notice here, I'm using a pastry cloth and a rolling pin cover. Those came together in a little kit I bought at a kitchen store, and this will change your pastry game. It just makes things so much easier to roll out. You use less flour, you get a more tender pastry crust as a result. I highly recommend you pick yourself up a set if you make a lot of pie, because it's really going to help you out. So I'm putting the raw pastry into the bottom of the pie plate. That's just your standard 9-inch pie plate. This one's aluminum. And now we're going to make the filling. That's 3 cups of rhubarb. I'm using fresh, but you could use frozen if that's all you have. This is from my garden. Then you'll add in 1 cup of crushed pineapple that's been drained. 1 1/3 cups of white sugar, 1/3 cup of flour, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of orange zest. And all you have to do is just give it a good stir until it's well combined. Now, a note about this recipe, it calls for 1 cup of crushed pineapple that's been drained. The cans around here come in 13-ounce cans at our grocery store. So you get actually more than a cup. You get about 1 1/4 cups of well-drained pineapple. And what do you do with that little bit of that little third? So what I would recommend is if you do get a 13-ounce can and you drain it very well, use the whole can. So you may end up with more than 1 cup of pineapple, but you know what? 1 1/4 cups is not going to make a huge difference in this recipe, and it'll be just fine, and you won't end up trying to find something to do with that little bit of extra pineapple. Then you just pour that into your pie crust bottom and then add the top crust. And then just trim off the edges. Now, what I do with the excess pastry is I roll that out and I make something called pâte de sire, which is a little cinnamon pastry, and I'll put a link to that too. And that one is kind of a family favorite with the leftover crust. And then I just use a simple pinch for the edge of the pie crust to seal it. And then I add some couple of slits at the top to let some steam out. And then you're going to bake this at 375 degrees for about 40-45 minutes or so until the crust is nice golden brown. And you'll know your pie is pretty much ready if it starts to bubble out the sides, which it almost always does. So make sure you have something under your pie when you're baking it. Let it cool a little bit, and then it's ready to serve. You can serve this with cream, with ice cream, or just on its own. It's not a super duper sweet pie, and the amount of flour you add to this to thicken it is perfect because you don't get something that's dry, nor is it really runny. The flavor combination of this is amazing, and I think you're going to love it. As promised, here's a link to that really old video where I show you how to make pastry in, as well as the video that contains the pâte de sire recipe that uses the scrap pieces of pastry crust. And you'll have to go check out to see what pâte de sire means in English. I think you'll get a laugh out of it. Thanks for watching.